Losing tonight, 122-94 to the Toronto Raptors. Come on in the room. 122-94, your final. Bucks were trying to go for 4 in a row tonight, or this afternoon, weren't able to do it. Come on in the room. They had won, was it 6 of 7 or 7 of 8, so they couldn't go 8 of 9. Oh, God, I can't remember where it was, but it's something like that. Bucks just not able to do it tonight, 122-94. Come on in the room. And Doc is a doctor. He writes our scripts. It gives us our medicine in our room. We are live. Screw transfer. Crazy crossover. Nobody here. It's me, Solo Guru tonight. Solo Guru this afternoon. So you know that's what we're gonna do. Give me, if you can, give me some grace for any potential technical difficulties on the show this afternoon. No, don't have a producer. Don't have Chris with me getting things going. So anything that goes wrong, a mic goes out, a camera goes down, you don't like something, is Solo Guru tonight. So we may have technical difficulties. I just like to throw that out in advance. But we're gonna do what we do: triple double on the track, no assist. We out here like Cam Thomas. Get it off the rim. I am Jay Sports. Hit that like button before you sit your ass down. That's what I like. But 122-94, we're going to talk about it. Bucks weren't able to keep things rolling. I have a feeling this afternoon, this evening, if you will, and hold service for a moment of your time. I have a feeling I'm not going to be as upset as I think a lot of you guys in the chat are. I think there's a lot of people, the things I was reading on Twitter and social media, I'm not as upset as I think a number of people are. Because again, let me just, before we get to the recap here, Bucks. Let me just. Were we expecting the Bucks to win every single game from here on out, or is that? We weren't expecting the Bucks not to lose again. So it was going to happen. It was bound to happen. And it did happen tonight, 122-94. You weren't running the table. So there was a moment where this would happen. And I'm here to tell you, it's okay. Again, I'm just not as upset as I think a lot of you guys are going to be. And I'll tell you why that is. William Arrange, Super Chat here. He says, and again, we're solo, so I will try to get to as much of the chat as I can. Get at us on Twitter, get at us on YouTube, all that good stuff. William Arrange, appreciate the Super Chat. He says, Doc Rivers will single-handedly take down this organization. You have a bucket-getting machine in Cam Thomas, yet you play him for 20 minutes. William Arrange, just for the record here, it was definitely announced as of the last game the other night. Cam Thomas is on a minutes restriction. He has a hamstring issue. So, yes, Cam Thomas, until that is lifted or until something changes, Cam Thomas is not going to play over 21 minutes or so. That's just where things are. He's on a minutes restriction, has a hamstring issue. About 21 minutes, I think that's the most he's played so far. But let's do it. Let's do a game recap. Let's break this thing down. Let's talk about it for a second this afternoon. Well, look, let's go to NYC Randy here, Super Chat, before we get to the recap. Appreciate you, NYC. He says, Ryan Rollins can't play with Cam. He doesn't even look at him on offense. He just jacks up shots, goes 1v4. Oos could have done exactly what AJ did today. Get me ham. This shit is sad. Doc is ass. Lot to unpack there, NYC. Here's what I'll say about Rollins for a second. Again, I never want to be, because I think people have some things, just for the record, to break this thing down. We especially on this program, myself, I know Chris King for a fact, we have been calling for Ryan Rollins to play. A lot of us wanted Ryan Rollins to play. He's a good young player. What ended up happening, and I made this point before, but I like to continue making it to make sure it's very clear. What ended up happening was people started hating on KPJ for a number of other reasons, off the court, what have you. And so we felt the need, or at least I felt the need, to defend KPJ a little bit more for his on the court stuff, because I thought people were using off the court things to creep into their analysis of his play on court. Now, the beneficiary of some of that was Ryan Rollins. And so again, it was never like this big criticism from me about Rollins. It was just the fact that, like, well, let's slow down here, and we can't just get like people start acting like he was something that, again, I don't necessarily know that he is. And again, it's okay to call good young player, could be the most improved player this year. Could easily win that award. Could easily see him winning that award. He's been that good. He has taken that much of a leap. But tonight, and this is why because like I said, what a lot of times what happened from some of the outsiders, I'm not saying outsiders, but some people in the Bucks fan base was, you got to take KPJ out of the game because he's hampering guys. He's not letting guys. Remember, there was a big thing. He takes too many dribbles. There was this whole to me it was a little fake. But this whole fake outrage about KPJ and limiting Ryan Rollins' development. And I look and I go, I don't know why he'd limit his development. That doesn't make sense to me. But the other big point was to me that, and I think you saw it tonight, there is and I know people, there's hezzy, tween, all this kind of stuff. And I watch basketball from a spreadsheet or a calculator, but there is a difference. And that's why basketball, as we talk about on this program, basketball is meant to be watched, not read. You saw this evening or this afternoon, the physicality was too much for Ryan. Look at these assist numbers. We didn't got to the recap. Look at these assist numbers. KPJ had 10. Sims had 2. Those were your high. The next highest player with assists on this team was Jericho Sims with 2 assists. AJ Green had 1, Kyle Kuzma had 1, Miles Turner had 1, Ryan Wallace had 1, Bobby Portis had 1, Cam Thomas had 1. The Bucks had 18 assists and KPJ had 10 of them as a team. The physicality at times can be too much for and again, it's not just, and it's just certain matchups. It's just certain guys. It ain't like this is an all-time thing, but when you're in the playoffs, when you're facing a team that's going to hound you, when you're facing a team that is going to play with the level of physicality that you have to face in the playoffs, that you're going to have to play against a team that is very handsy, that is all over you, and the officials may not call it to the level that you want to call it. You can either complain, cry, and whine, or you're going to have to get people up off you and still find a way to navigate and run the offense. And I'm not saying KPJ did a great job of it. I thought the physicality was much. I thought the physicality took a lot of the team out of the way. I saw some people say, "Oh, well, the Bucks aren't running anything." No, they couldn't run anything. The Raptors took them away from the sets they were trying to run because they pressured them so much on ball. They pressured them so much in the half court. They pressured them so much as soon as they got the ball in. There's 11 seconds left on the clock before you can even do anything. There's 10 seconds on the clock before we even are trying to get downhill to run anything. So the Raptors did a really good job of pressuring the ball, and what ended up happening was the only guy that could halfway handle it for an extended period of time and facilitate and run any kind of systems on was KPJ. He's the best ball handler on the team. He's the best ball handler. So that's why it's tough to take him. Again, that's why it's tough. And again, I'm not saying that anybody else was like, everybody was so good and wrong. No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying when you look at the guards, you look at who can play, who can't play, who should come out, and we'll talk about some of that. Again, I watch and I go, ooh, it's tough to take KPJ out of the starting lineup because of how he handles, just simply because of how he handles the ball. And what's happened now is he's turned to a much smarter player where you're not seeing these high turnover levels. Again, Rollins and I have 5 turnovers. He had 1 assist. That's not good enough if you're going to be the starting point guard. And again, it's one game. And it's not the end of the world. But Toronto played with an intensity and a level of intensity and an edge to them that the Bucks did not match. So, and then another you talked about Oos doing what AJ did. Yeah, that's another one. We'll talk about that too. That's another one where, again, the spreadsheets can only take you so far. A plus minus can only take you so far. You got to hit those shots. When you at some point you have to hit the shots. Like, I get it. Gravity can only take you so far. At some point you've got to hit the shots. It's a make or miss league in some forms of fashion. The Bucks were 9 of 32 from 3. Toronto was 16 of 46. It was a different, again, not the sole reason they lost, but again, there's a tendency from spreadsheet people to make determinations on certain guys because, you know, this VORP number and the LeBron defect, what all these BS numbers from these random websites you go to tell you a certain thing. And again, in some ways they validate what you see, and sometimes you go, I don't know that I you know, what JT said last night is causation. I don't know what he said, but it was something like that. You know, is causation correlation? And those are the questions. And tonight, like I said, you know, you really could have used your 3-point shooters. Your 3-point shooter not being able to hit the threes is tough. And again, it's a volatile thing because if you look on the whole season, the totality of it, yeah, he's shooting great. But you know, there's some nights where it's better than others, and tonight was one of those nights where it just didn't go down for him. But he got to keep shooting. Got to keep shooting because we know he can do that. William Arrange, another super chat, says, also, I hope he hasn't killed Usman's confidence already. The kid misses 2 shots and proceeds not to play for the rest of the game. I got thoughts on that, too. I get it. I mean, he didn't score tonight, played 15 minutes. A lot of garbage time. Only 8 minutes, I think, in where the game was actually in the balance. Some of those things happen. Again, I don't know. Maybe Doc thought that the physicality was too much for him as well. Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, it was definitely a physical game out there this afternoon. It was Toronto punched the Bucks in the mouth, and outside of a few spurts here and there, the Bucks did not respond. They just didn't respond with the level of intensity, physicality they needed to. All right, let's go to a game recap. I've been yapping enough. Appreciate your super chats. Keep them coming. Rollins tonight, 21, 9 rebounds. So he did that well. 6 of 17 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3. He's got the 3-ball going. I mean, he's got the step back 3 going. Ryan Rollins in the past, I mean, I don't know what the sample size is, but his 3-ball, his step back 3 has, I mean, he's already been shooting it well. He's got that shot rolling. He's got that shot rolling. So that was good. He did end up with 5 turnovers tonight. Just a little loose with the ball. And again, the Raptors flustered him. He's the guy. He was 6 of 17, shot 35%. Raptors flustered him. They got to him. I think they got him out of his element, got him out of his game a little bit. Had a nice block, but yeah, he wasn't his normal self. Outside of hitting that 3-ball, again, I thought the Raptors sped him up. I thought they had him out of control. I thought they did a lot of things they wanted to do to him. Defensively, I thought he got torn up a little bit by Emmanuel quickly. So yeah, there were some. Tonight wasn't the best night for Ryan Rollins outside of 3-ball. KPJ 21, 10 assists, 2 rebounds. 8 for 11, 72% from the field, 1 of 1 from the 3-ball, 4 of 6 from the free throw line this afternoon, 1 turnover. I thought, again, KPJ very in control. Defensively could have been better. I mean, outside of fully taking over this game, I mean, it was, which he wasn't able to do either. He was one of the ones that could really get downhill, could really facilitate, could try to do some things to match with the level of intensity and ball pressure that Toronto had. Didn't get himself out of control. But again, it was tough for him too to initiate the offense because Toronto was all over these guys. And you could argue, could there have been some things that you could have done better? Could you have set some more screens in the backcourt? Could you? Because damn, if Jericho Sims was setting, he's pushing people in the back every time. It's a moving screen on Jericho Sims every time. It's a moving screen. He sets good hard screens. I think some of them the refs just have it out for him. But we got to get you can't be that non of a factor on my offense, and we getting and setting turnovers because you're getting these illegal screens. Stand there, set the screen, move on. I don't need the 2-hand push with everything. Miles Turner got back in line at 14 and 4, 1 assist for him, 6 of 11 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3. 3 fouls tonight. I thought Toronto was able to get to him and force him as a rim protector and him protecting the basket. They were able to draw fouls on him. There were a couple that I thought, you just got to keep your hands straight up. But Miles Turner, his issue for me is he's just not a factor. He's just not, for a guy we gave $100 million to. He's just not. He just doesn't factor into the game as much. He's there. He can defend. He had 2 blocks. He'll get the occasional shot block here. He'll do some of that. He'll protect the rim. He'll be a presence inside. He can't rebound. He'll hit the 3-point shot every now and then. But it's just not enough of a factor to justify what we gave up for him. It's just not enough of a factor. Kyle Kuzma tonight, not good enough. 3 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 of 3. He was a non-factor tonight. A lot of cardio from him. AJ Green talked about 3 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 of 5 from the field. 1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. Listen, shooters got to shoot, man. I need my 3-point specialist to hit 3-point shots. And again, it's not enough to be in position defensively. And at some point, you have to make the plays. You got to be able to make the plays too. I think he's a smart player. He's a good player. He does a lot of really good things. But you also have to execute when that's your role. Remember, it's about roles. And it's funny because one of the things, because I was making this point, and what I was told was, you don't know the value of AJ Green. You don't, like, he can't be more. He can't. Okay, that's fine. And the other point was, well, if you only look at points, rebounds, assists, that's not a way to watch basketball because and there are plenty of great role players who don't score and rebound. That's not what I said. Yeah, I understand that. PJ Tucker is one of my all-time favorite Bucks on that championship roster. I understand that fully. But what PJ Tucker did, he did at the role he played at an elite level that justified him on the court for the amount that he was on the court. Draymond Green is not a big PRA guy either. But what he does in his role, he does at an elite level, right? There are certain. Remember Kyle Korver back when what he did in his role he did it at an elite level. Ray Allen, old Ray Allen, what he did in his role hitting 3, he did at an elite level. So that's you have to do what you do at an elite level to justify being on the floor 30 plus minutes. And again, when you are a 3-point shooter, you've got to hit 3-point shots, especially the ones when you're wide open. That's just how this thing goes. I'm sorry. That's how it goes. Because again, for as good as he is and for as high IQ as he has defensively and being in the right space and being in the right spots, he's not big enough to play the 3. So again, he's a great defender. His numbers, he's a great defender. Find somebody 6'8", and they're gonna cook him. Find somebody 6'6", they're going to cook him for the most part. So it's these 3-guard lineups are rough when, again, I'm asking my best ball handler and my best, the guy who I really need to put some emphasis on offense, I'm not asking him to go play out of position to go defend Brandon Ingram all game. That's a tall task for KPJ. Because if we had a real 3, which Jang, you on the mind? If do we have him on the roster? I don't know, maybe. But if I have somebody that can do that, I'd rather have that guy. I'd rather live with the tough shots from Brandon Ingram than the adjustments we had to make in the second half and late in the first half, which is we're going to double Brandon Ingram. We're just going to double him. He get the ball, we're going to double. Boom, here we go. All right, now Emmanuel quickly is cooking us because once we double, there's nothing else to do. Or we're going to run the zone and Toronto got in and out of the zone, hit the back line on the zone, hit the 3 ball out of the they were everything. What's Toronto's coach name? Darko? Everything Doc Rivers threw, and again, I'll give Doc Rivers a little bit of credit because his first adjustment used to just be we're gonna run a zone and we're gonna zone this up and see if we can't stop guys 1-on-1, let's go 2-3 and pray and see what happens. And I did see some mixing of the defense and some doubles, and we're gonna try this, we're gonna try. I did see some of that. I saw a lot of it. The problem was, again, I do think that Darko ran circles around Doc. To everything they tried, they had an answer for it. And not only did they have an answer for it, they also punched you in the mouth. It wasn't like, oh, what you got an answer for? No, they punched us in the mouth while they had an answer for it. So they didn't. It wasn't like we put up 138 against New Orleans the other night. You put up 94 points. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. Toronto dictated this basketball game from basically the end of the first quarter for the rest of the game, outside of maybe 2 or 3 spurts. Cam Thomas, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 and 9, 1 and 2 from 3. Again, he's on a minutes restriction, so I understand why. I totally understand why he only plays 21 minutes. Until he's off of that minute, everybody tell him, start Cam Thomas. Until he's off a 21-minute restriction, he's never going to start. So we don't even have to talk about that. Bobby Porter, 6.7 rebounds, 3 of 8 tonight. Had a flagrant that I didn't really think was a flagrant. Again, I keep going back to that Russell Westbrook where Russ was all over Giannis's neck, and that didn't get called a flagrant. If that's the standard for a flagrant foul or a non-flagrant foul on a premier star in the NBA, you tell me Bobby Portis is getting a flagrant for going for the ball on a bum? Who was it? It wasn't Brandon Ingram. Scotty Barnes didn't play. It wasn't Emmanuel Quick. I don't remember who it was. And Bobby Portis is getting a flagrant foul for that when the standard for a non-flagrant is Russell Westbrook wrapping up around the neck and a perennial all-star MVP, one of the top 25 players to ever play the game of basketball? You kidding me? Ref's not the reason the Bucks lost this game, but come on. Ousmane Dieng, 0 points tonight, 5 rebounds, 0-4 from the field. You can make the argument that listen, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you that Doc Rivers could have played him more. I'm not going to argue Doc Rivers couldn't have played him more, especially when the production we got from our wing level players in AJ Green and Kyle Kuzma, the production we got from them was 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists in about 40 minutes from both of those guys combined. 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. Ousmane Dieng could have done that. I think Ousmane Dieng could have given you 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. So I would have rather him played. Pete Nance, same way. I'm not going to argue that Pete Nance couldn't have played. He basically played garbage time. Jericho Sims, 4.7 rebounds. On the Toronto side of things, RJ Barrett was really a non-factor tonight, 7.6 rebounds. That's why tonight was a good one you could have got. Scotty Barnes didn't play out personally. Tonight was a game you could have got. But I thought Brandon Ingram and Emmanuel quickly went for 32 and 9. So, I mean, and rightfully so, he's going to get a lot of the credit for Toronto. But I thought Brandon Ingram was the reason. When the Bucks figured out, or when Toronto figured out that they couldn't do anything with Brandon Ingram, that's when quickly went to work. Because the Bucks then started they shifted their entire defensive identity towards trying to stop Brandon Ingram. And once that happened, the floodgates opened for everything else. 32 from quickly, 11 and 19, 5-11 from 3. Jakob Portal, 6 points, 8 boards. Jacoby Walter, 9.6 boards. I thought Jamal Sheed, I thought defensively, he had 12, 6, and 6, 2 steals. He was great tonight. He was great tonight. And then you had Colin Murray Boyles, 8 points, 4 rebounds. Our guy, Sandro Mamu, 15 and 4 assists. He had a really big first half, I think it was. 6 of 12 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3. Grady Dick, 4 points, 2 rebounds tonight. So he wasn't much of a factor. But at the end of the day, the Bucks lost this game. Bucks lost this game, in my opinion, because they got punched in the mouth to start. Excuse me, after the first quarter, they got punched in the mouth, and they were not able to respond to the physicality. They were not able to what Mike Tyson say, everybody got to play until you get punched in the face. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And the Bucks got punched in the mouth, and we were they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. They could not match the intensity. That both sides, I thought, Doc and what's my man's name, Darko, for somebody tell me the coach's name for Toronto, his last name. But both sides, I thought, a lot of arguing at the refs, a lot of crying about calls. Toronto is very physical, and much like that UW Green Bay game where they called that foul and Doug Gottlieb got kicked out of it, much like that game, referees rewarded energy. They rewarded the energy, and I thought that Toronto had more energy and they played harder. They just did. On the rebounding side of things, Bucks have done much better rebounding basketball, even without Giannis. So they win the rebounding battle 46-45. They get 34 assists from Toronto to 18. That's tough. Bucks had 17 turnovers. Toronto had 6. Can't win like that. And then Toronto again, but even though you win a rebounding battle, Toronto takes 94 field goal attempts to the Bucks 85. They had 14 offensive rebounds tonight. I mean, it's just not good enough. Let's see. Iron Man Clan says bum ass coach. Solomon Jules 4-8, 4-6. I thought about the Westbrook Giannis foul too. That was a BS call on Bobby. I agree. Jake Roby says Nance and Jang seem more fundamentally sound than Kuzma. I thought Jang. See, here's the thing. Jang got himself in some trouble in that first half. The first stint of minutes he got. I mean, let's be clear about it. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have played, but the first stint of minutes Jang had, they were not good. 2 times he got the ball on a mini break and again, Giannis isn't here, so that's neither here. I'm not gonna kill him, but I don't know. I ain't seen enough that says dribbling traffic on a train, because you're really not on a fast break. So trying to get the ball in transition as Toronto's getting back, and you think you just gonna dribble through traffic and run through guys. And I like what I've seen from James so far. I ain't seen that. I ain't seen that you get the green light to do that. And both times he got himself in trouble. I think one of them, I didn't realize he had 3 turnovers tonight. He had 3 turnovers to play 14 minutes. So he didn't have the best of nights. But it leads me to, and so I think I've talked a little bit about how physical Toronto was versus what the Bucks were. But I think we do need to get at, and some people have questions about lineups and how you play guys and where you play them. Deadtron says it's weird how we aren't really scared of most teams like the Thunder that we beat, but I'd be worried matching up against Raptors. Deadtron, that's a great comment. It was weird. Styles make fights. Like, to your point, I think the Bucks, they probably match up better. When you look at like the East, and let's say the Bucks were to get in and have a chance in the playoffs, and they were gonna, like, they probably don't match up as bad with because of the level of players. Like Detroit, I feel like you have a better. I don't feel like the matchups are that bad. Boston, again, from a matchup perspective, I don't think Boston's a terrible match. However, again, from coaching, they run circles around you. IQ, they run circles around you. I'm talking about from a physical standpoint of this guy versus this guy. Like, I don't think New York kind of give me same kind of vibes. But Toronto, yeah, Toronto has those wings that like, and they didn't have Scotty tonight. They didn't have Sky tonight, and they were able to do that to you. So that was, again, it's just a little unfortunate, but I agree. From a matchup, and James Moore says Toronto isn't a good matchup devoid of Giannis. They're too big and mouths too soft. I agree. I think you need. This is a game where Giannis is gonna have to carry you in a game like this, in a series like this against a team like that. That's where Giannis has got to, it would be vital. Again, and that's the other reason why I'm not tripping out over a loss, over getting beat by the Toronto Raptors. You don't have a top 3 player in the world. I'm not about to sit here and be down on, I can't this or that. Yeah, I'm surprised we won 7 of the last 8. I'm surprised we won 3 in a row. Like what we did before the All-Star break and coming out and getting win. I've been surprised at this anyway. Like, I thought the season was, the season was teetering on, dude, hold on. We were just a couple weeks ago away from Tank Commander Kuzma, Tank Commander KPJ. Look at all the Tank Commanders we got. Like, we were just that. We weren't far removed. We are not far removed from that. So, we're not far removed from that, man. Like, and it's funny because today we sit here and I look at the chat and I see Twitter and I see social media and we're like in amazement that the Bucks lost the game, or that like this could have been done, this could have been done, this could have been done. Like, I'm just saying, slow down. There's still work to be done, and oh, by the way, you don't have the best player in the game. By the way, I feel like Giannis played 4-on-4. Next step is 5-on-5. I don't have any authority on this, but I'm assuming we're a week and a half away, 2 weeks away at the worst. I think we're 2 weeks away at the worst. Remember what was it when he said 4 to 6 weeks? I believe 6 weeks was like start of March. So if 6 weeks was around the start of March, and we're at February 22nd, I think he's getting there. And we'll see. Again, he's got to play a certain way. That's not the discussion for today. But again, as it stands, you look at the standings. You're one game. That's why it was tough. And I was looking at the scoreboard. I don't know what happened with Atlanta and Brooklyn tonight or this afternoon, but Brooklyn was winning that game for a while, and in the fourth quarter, Atlanta outscored them by 10 or 11 and won that one. So the Bucks are, again, you are a game behind Charlotte, and that's why today would have been great, because if you win that, you keep pace and you'd be a half game behind Charlotte, and you'd also would have been, because you're 2 games behind Atlanta, you'd have been a game behind Atlanta. You'd have been a game out of ninth if you won that today and Atlanta lost it. But Atlanta wins, and I looked at the schedule. Atlanta and Charlotte both have pretty mild schedule. Like, I think they both have games against like Brooklyn. They both have games against Washington coming up. So they have a pretty mild schedule on the horizon. If you're the Bucks, you got to be fighting like hell. The Sixers have lost 4 games in a row. You got to be fighting like hell. It's going to be tough as nails. You got to be fighting like hell to get to that 6th seed. You got to be fighting like hell to get to that 6th seed. I don't know if it'll happen, but you're going to be fighting to do it. See some stuff about Miles being soft. Again, Lewis Fleming can't start the game. Cam's on the minutes. James Reyes. Cam's on the minutes restriction, so that's not going to happen. Lewis says KPJ is the only one that showed up. Clayton says this game is a continuation of poor coaching that we have been complaining about. Yeah, but again, I just want to go. I guess I go back to asking you guys, and this is what I want to ask you guys in the chat, since I don't have anybody to kind of talk to outside of myself on the program. But I guess, what are your optimal lineups? How much should Jang actually? How much do you trust? Because this has to be killing a guy like Doc Rivers, right? Like, how much do you actually trust? How much do you actually trust Ousmane Dieng to start a game and play? Are you really at the point already where you trust him to play 30 minutes a night? because I don't know that I'm there. Like I don't know that I'm there. Van Lee says 6 seed. Stop, bro. But hold on, Van. Hold on, Van. Again, you can say that, but this, as I said earlier, we weren't long ago from talking about getting a top 5 pick in the draft. So again, things changed drastically overnight. If I told you, say 6 seed, LOL, stop, bro. If I told you 8 games ago the Bucks are going to win 7 of their next 8, I think you would have said LOL, stop, bro. Ha ha ha. So I'm just saying, things change just like that. That's how they change. Van Lee says Miami has 6 seed on lock. Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about Miami having a 6 seed on lock at all. I know Tyler Hero just came back. Things, yeah, but I don't know. Candidly though, in the last week or so, I haven't watched Miami last week. I know the Bucks got Miami pretty soon here. But they're another team again with Giannis. Miami doesn't scare me at all. Again, outside of the coaching situation. Quack Me says can't trust Jang to play against a physical defense. So again, I mean that's your question for me. That's my question. Is how do I make this determination, right? How do I know what gives me the reason to believe that Jang can play these minutes, can play heavy minutes and start? And then your other question is, again, are you taking AJ Green out of this lineup? Because I'll tell you, I look at it, I don't think you can take KPJ. I don't think you take KPJ out. I don't think you take Rollins out. I really don't. So if Giannis is coming back, to me, the question is, are you starting, if you're going to make a change, are you starting Kuzma or are you starting Jang? And, maybe the leash can be short on Kuz. I don't know. Kuzma, Kuzma's biggest problem is that he makes too much money. He makes $20-some million. If Kuz was a $10 million player, I'd be just fine with him. He just makes a lot of money. He just makes a lot of money to... When you make $20-some million, that's tough. Young City says, yes, I do trust Jang. You've seen him. You've seen him play like 5 games. You've seen him play 4 or 5 games. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying it's a very small sample size on. Yeah, I trust him to be in the right spots, to make the right plays, to have continuity with the offense. Oh, and by the way, I've never seen him play with Giannis. So Giannis is gonna come back into that equation. But yeah, tonight, but going back on it, tonight to me was more about the physicality than anything. And you can maybe make the question or you can question whether a bigger guy, but again, once you lose by 30, I don't know that if you play this guy, yeah, I can't call that. I really can't call it. I think what I really would have wanted to see was if you lost this game, but Rollins had played well and was efficient, and Cam Thomas in his 20 minutes went on a heater, and Miles Turner was blocking shots and throwing guys away at the rim, and we were matching their intensity and not giving up 122 points. If I had seen some of that, maybe I go okay, and they lost by a little bit, I go okay. Maybe a couple changes would have made the difference here. But I don't know that. I don't know that anything would have changed. I think Toronto did what they were supposed to do, and I think somebody else said in the chat when the Bucks ran out of options. They ran out of options. They doubled. And give Toronto credit. They found where things were supposed to go. Clayton says Clayton Landon says double Ingram, give up wide open threes. They gave up everything. He also says take out Green. Cyril Polk 9710. My eyes might be deceiving. He says preach. I've been saying AJ Green too many minutes. Steve Pierce 4455. Why is Green still starting? Again, and just take the other side of it. I'll tell you, they will tell you it's because of the gravity. And again, I don't disagree with it. It's the gravity and floor spacing. We talked about this, before. And here's another thing though. You can make a good argument. AJ Green's the best guy to play in the lineup with Giannis. I don't necessarily disagree with that argument either. That if somebody were to tell me, because again, when you talk about floor spacing, if AJ Green's outside 3-point line and you are hugged up on him, there's more space to maneuver and get into driving lanes. So that works for Giannis. Now, the deal is though that if you double Giannis, or if I get these driving lanes and the defense collapse, when I kick it out to you, you've got to pay that off. And last couple games, he has not paid that off. Again, we aren't too far removed from AJ Green having, what was he like? He had a game where he couldn't miss. He put up like 20-some points. That's not going to be every single night. But, I mean, yeah, I expect, I really expect AJ, you need to hit 3 threes a night, minimum. Minimum, I need 3 threes a night from AJ Green. Minimum, because that's how much volume you should be getting. Miles Turner plays 25 minutes. He's just not tough enough. James Moore, Miles Turner, too soft. That contract is an albatross. I'd sacrifice a draft pick to entice the team to take him. You're not, again, Miles Turner, another guy, I think he's got to play well with Giannis in the lineup. Some of this tonight was a bad matchup. Toronto's a rough matchup. Toronto is a rough matchup for the Bucks. There's no question about it. But it's how you respond. And, you know, I'll just go through the schedule, and then I'll leave you guys because we're not going to be here long as a solo guru tonight. But let's go to you look at the schedule. Bucks going to have to get on the horse. You have on Tuesday, you got the Heat, Cavs, Tuesday, Wednesday. You got Heat, Cavs, Knicks, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Heat, Cavs, Knicks. You get the Bulls in between there next Sunday. And then Monday, you got the Celtics. So the schedule really doesn't ease up until March the 4th, where you go Hawks, Jazz, Magic, Suns. Heat, Hawks, Pacers. So these next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games heading into March 2nd, and today would have been a good one to get. But between Heat, Cavs, Knicks, you got to find a way to win 2 of them. And that's the difference now. And I don't know when Giannis come back, but that's the difference now. Is every single game moving forward is important. Every single one is important. And the Bucks are fighting for their play-in lives. You won 7 of 8. You're going to have to get on another streak of, 7 of 10, something like that. You're going to have to get on another streak like that. And then we'll see when Giannis comes back. He's going to have to play well the way they're doing it. James Moore says they should be able to defeat Miami and Chicago. Again, if you told me with Giannis, no, these are must wins and these are must wins, period. But yeah, with Giannis, when you tell me they should be able to defeat Miami and Chicago, I go, yeah, you got Giannis in a group pretty much fully healthy. Yeah, you should be able to go do that. This group, I don't know that. I don't know. The Bucks won't be favored in the Chicago. Yeah, Chicago. The Bucks are going to be favored Tuesday night against Miami, unless somebody's out, unless Norm Powell's out. You're going to get beaten in the coaching matchup. Norm Powell's a bucket. Tyler Hero's a problem. Bam Adebayo, when he's way more physical than what the Bucks have down low. So yeah, you're gonna have to be on a lot of. The Bucks are gonna have to pull the Bucks are going to have have a number of guys play very well for them to beat Miami on Tuesday night. And the Cavaliers are, you know what Cleveland can do. You know what Cleveland can do. And Cleveland's probably expect with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. Again, that's another one where you look at that's another one where I'm looking at the starting lineup and going, do you make a change? I'll just go back to Cleveland. They're starting James Harden, D. Mitch. Now, if they start Dean Wade, maybe you have a chance because you can hide. You can throw AJ Green on Dean Wade. You can do that. But Harden and D Mitch are going they lost to OKC and they put up as a backcourt, they put up 40, 12, and 14. So that's going to be tough. Sam Merrill came in and gave him 20. Then you got Dennis Schroeder off the bench. Like that, they got Keon Ellis, another guy who can ferociously defend. Those are tough, and that's off a back. That's a tough game. It's gonna be a very tough game. Okay, says Dean. Yeah, but he's not using that 6'10". He's a perimeter player. He's not gonna use that 6'10" at all. It's like, do you remember Clayton? Do you remember that playoff series against the Miami Heat? Matter of fact, in 2023, you know who the Heat had starting off on Brook Lopez? A 7-footer. They had, now I said that, and then now his name's escaping me. I think he used to play for Cleveland too, but he played for Miami. Now I can't even think of his name. I can't think of his name anymore. They had a foreign guy who was like 6'6", playing on Brook Lopez, because Brook Lopez is staying outside the 3-point line. So if you're 7, you could be 7'5". If you're going to stay outside the 3-point line all day long, I can throw a small on you, and we just throw a hand up and play ball. Dean Wade's not attacking the basket. So you could probably live with that. Quick Draw McGraw says, it wasn't Kevin Love. No, it wasn't Kevin Love. It wasn't Kevin Love. It was like a 6'6" guy. Now I'm trying to remember the y'all gonna make me hold on, now I gotta do this, or it's gonna blow me. Miami Heat finals roster. I gotta find now. Yeah, see, y'all make me do this. I need a 2023 finals roster. That's what I need. 2022-23 Heat. It was Max Strus. 6'5". It was Max. That's what they did. They put Mac. Go back and watch the game. They start off the game through Max Strus on Brook Lopez. And we didn't make him pay for it at all, because Brook sat his ass out there at the 3-point line. James Moore says Glenn Rivers will overly rely on A.J. Green, so they'll fumble. Ryan will have tunnel vision and forget about his teammates and piss a winnable game away. I will say, again, I'll say this. The only thing that's funny, and then I'm starting to wrap up. The only thing that is funny is like some of the criticisms that I saw people have about KPJ. I see, again, it's less dribbles to do it. I think it's more noticeable when KPJ does it, because he can over dribble, and so, because and again, the reason he can do it is because he has and that when he's not being loosey goosey with the ball, he has handles. So when you got handles, you can tween, pop like that decent boom. I'm stop. He has the hurt jerk in his game, and because he has the hurt jerk, he feels he can play like that. And so now when he gets to doing too much of that, it can be a problem. But I think the thing is funny is there is a group that's like, well, he's not gonna pass the ball. But he actually, when he goes downhill, he's looking to facilitate. And there are times I think where Rollins, and again, I don't think it's because he's not looking to facilitate. I think it's because he's just not as good of a facilitator. I think it's because he, when you can herky jerk, you can create space. When you can't herky jerk, the space you create is mainly for you to get a shot off. That's what I've noticed, is getting downhill to be downhill and to then be in a position where you can pass, shoot, lay, try to get a foul, decel, float, or what. KPJ has a lot more of the ability to do that versus when I look at Rollins, when he's down there or when he can get his paint touch, the best thing about it for the most part is that he can get his shot off. And again, that's why, I think Rollins is a better as a combo guard. I think it'd be tough to say, hey, you're the primary on-ball guard. And that's how I think he could put up points like that for sure. And I think he could get his way to 5, 6, 7. I think he could do it. I just don't think it it would look as smooth. And again, the only thing I say is this too on KPJ. And as we're seeing, to me, he's just doing a much better job not turning the ball over. And I also think he's doing a better job not over dribbling. I think one of the problems with people who watch a game in a vacuum and they watch basketball as this whole point of a spreadsheet and a what you're missing when you do that is you reduce the player to whatever you see on that chart. And if the chart says X, that means the player is X. And what we didn't realize, or at least what some people didn't realize, is the key, because I think it was a valid criticism. You shouldn't have 500-something dribbles where Giannis is on the court with you. That doesn't make sense. I agree with that. But the answer is, hey, let's rein him in a little bit. I don't think because it says X on the chart doesn't mean that's all you are. Let's focus on what you do well and let's rein it in. You're too loose with the ball. Okay, hey, you can do all this stuff. You got to protect the basketball. Like those charts don't factor in. Can guys grow? Can guys mature? Can guys take coaching? And that's what I've seen from KPJ is clearly somebody's gotten to him. You can't have 7 turnovers and be my starting point guard. So you got to figure that out. And I've seen a growth in that mindset from him. Now, that said, guard plays not why they, at least those two guys aren't why the Bucks lost this game at all. But it was what I'll leave you with this, and then we'll keep rolling here. There was, and again, I go back to the Pacers series last year. Remember how physical Nembhard was. Remember how physical Nesmith was. Remember how physical even like an Obi Toppin was. Like Ben Mathurin. Like you either have, and then go back to the last real physical team the Bucks had, which was that 2021 title team, and remember how physical PJ Tucker was. And you know how physical Drew Holiday was, point of attack on ball, and how things have deteriorated from that standpoint since then. And I think KPJ is a harasser. He's not as physical. He's not as physical as Drew Holiday. Ryan Rollins is probably a little more physical defensively, but he's no Drew Holiday. But I think both of those guys are harassers, right? But we are not. And then especially when Giannis is playing, I think Brook Lopez was a much more physical defender than Miles Turner, even at the basket, at the rim. So, again, I guess my point that I'm trying to make is as the playoffs ramp up and teams trying to get into the play-in ramp up, that's the level tonight. And I don't know, and I don't think Toronto's not a title contender to me. They're not going to come out the East. But that's the level of intensity of a team that thinks they can. Because again, everybody should think they can. That's the level of intensity. A team that is looking for the play-in or playoffs and looking to make some noise and looking to advance. That's the level of physicality that's needed. And I think if you watch games through that lens, you'll see. Go watch when the playoffs start. Watch these high-level teams. Watch OKC. They play with that level of intensity all game long. And the Bucks play with it sometimes. And when you see it, you got to match it. And that, to me, was the entire reason the Bucks lost this game. Again, outside of shooting be damned, and you didn't shoot the ball well, you didn't hit these shots, you didn't hit enough threes. I get all that. And sometimes it is a make-or-miss league. I get all that. When we shoot from 3, we shot 9 of 32, 28%. But so, I mean, there were some shooting issues too. But again, I think some of that was because you got out physical. Still got to the line 19 times. Okay. Let me see. Rock Days 24 says Porter has lapses off ball, but he's stronger on ball defender to give him credit. He was body up 1 through 4. No, I agree with that 100%. Like he is. And again, some of that is because you have a 3 and AJ Green who he can't really defend his position. If the three on the other team is above 6'6", he can't defend that. He really can't. And so you saw it because tonight they chose to start the game off and put KPJ on Brandon Ingram, because that's who they thought was going to be able to defend, to be as physical as it could. That's a tall task. It's a tall task to ask that guy to do that. So yeah, let me see here. James Morris Porter Jr. needs to work better with Turner. Specifically, Miles needs a point guard to play off of. I mean, some of that I do. I agree to an extent. I feel like some of that is coaching as well. But also they're not running like Miles Turner is like all pick and pop here. Like, he's really not picking and like rolling. They're not really playing. Like, they play more two-man game, pick and roll to the basket with him and Jericho Sims than they do with Miles Turner. But anyway, all right. That's all. Again, I'm gonna take tonight. We're gonna flush it 122-94. We're gonna let you guys out. I'm not gonna belabor this tonight. Just to conclude this thing or wrap it up on the game. Too physical, and the Bucks got to find out. Doc Rivers has to answer some questions. He has to figure out 3 guard lines. Again, if that's what we're gonna do, it's gonna be tough. It's tough. It's just gonna be very tough if that against teams with bigger wings. So figure out, do you want to play with bigger wings or not? Maybe Giannis helps it. I don't know. But you're still a week and a half, 2 weeks off from Giannis. So you need to lock it. You got to find a way to lock in these next 2 weeks. And if it's 2 weeks before he gets back, the Bucks need to be in the 10th spot. Bucks need to be in the play-in by the time Giannis gets back. So, let me see. Jane says, that's cool. We understand you're a woman. I don't know what was cool. Are we wrapping up? I don't know. All right, 122-94. We will go to Twitter. We'll go to Twitter here. Try to find it. Of course, it's gonna take me a second here to get to it. All right, here we go. Let's see what Twitter had to say today. Wow, some came in clearly while I wasn't, while we were on the show here. We'll get through a few of these. 1 second here. All right. I'm just going through them. Again, we are one man. Solo Brewer tonight. Sunk345 says, here's what good coach can do for you. Raptors won just 30 games last year. Now they've already won more. They've completely flipped their identity and led by great coaching and drafting. That's what a good coach does, not give Usman Jang only 13 minutes in garbage time. I was listening to the broadcast. I saw that like the Raptors, I think, been the healthiest team in the league. Like they haven't, as far as like the starters, haven't missed many games. I think Scotty Barnes was his second game missed, something like that. So I think that's to do with it too. Not being healthy has a lot to do with it too. Our guy Justin, he did tweet in. He said, back to the drawing board, beat Miami. Hate, I'm missing it tonight. It's all right. We good. All good. Drew Barringer says, despite everything, the Bucks still have a bad head coach. His insistence on continuing to play green when he can't hit anything is maddening. Jang is going to be another young player whose development is ruined under Doc. That's interesting. When you say Jang's going to be another young player whose development is ruined under Doc, this is the only thing I do when we do that kind of stuff. You can't take the bad and not run with the good. So are we saying that Ryan Rollins' development was nurtured under Doc? Because that's all I'm saying. Even like tonight, the Bucks won 7 of 8 coming into tonight. You can't go, it was all the players, and then when you lose, it's all Doc Rivers. Like that's the only thing it can't be, oh my God, the revelation of the team, you lose a game and now Doc Rivers is terrible. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm just saying, like, you have to be there is some consistency that you have to hit there. At DJ Bob says, just get Doc out of here. Ham will be an upgrade. He actually made a conference finals in the last decade. At Robbie Digital says, it's my fault. I grabbed tickets to the Cavs Bucks game this Wednesday shortly before tip-off of Raptors Bucks. Okay. At Chief Machiavelli says, Doc is worried about hurting feelings. Start the best guys, and please, when Giannis gets back, stop this 3-guard lineup. Here's the thing, Chief. I think that's what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to start the best guys. I really do, which is why I think he goes these 3-guard lineups. I think he, again, I'm not saying you can't use some of the charting and the plus minus and the lineups, the on-off, all that on-off metrics, numbers that work, and your offensive rating when this person on the court versus that person. I'm not saying you can't use some of that stuff, but I think that's what I think there is something that goes into it, and that's why you look and go, oh, I'm going to play the best guys. Well, the best guy to play here is AJ Green because of these numbers, and the metrics show that. And then I think there's you have to ask the question, even if he is the best guy that can get you to gravity and get you all, like, does that make sense for the matchup? Don't know. Instant classic 5. That's a good one. He says Toronto had to defend all of Canada in this one. I'm not surprised. That's a good one. I didn't see the gold medal game. I don't really watch the Winter Olympics. I don't watch hockey either. But I know the United States won. At 2A Respect said, I don't mean to be negative, but I truly don't think Milwaukee front office will fire Doc. If it was about him being a bad coach, he would have been fired long ago. They genuinely enjoy his presence for some reason. I'll tell you one, if Giannis didn't want Doc around, he'd be gone. Giannis has gotten the last 2 coaches fired. I'm not saying single-handedly, not saying on his own, but Giannis has had a hand in getting Mike Budenholzer fired and AJ Griffin. Take for that what you will. The Bucks organization is clearly doing what, if Giannis wants something to happen, it can be done. So when we say that, if Giannis didn't want Doc around, Doc would not be around. That's what I'm telling you. At eRyan99 says, these untouchable players we got did not play well. Got to say it. Let's do the last one here. At SB08 user says, AJ Green simply can't play the 3. And if he can't defend better than today and knock down open shots, I'm out. Okay. So again, I think there's a lot of question about AJ Green and kind of how he played and what he did tonight. And I think, I think some of those, at least some of those criticisms they're valid. They're valid and they make sense. And I'm not here to tell you anything else. James Moore says, why do you think Mike Budenholzer was canned? Okay, I'll tell you. This isn't a thing. I'm telling you what I know and what I was told by coaches on staff at when during the Adrian Griffin tenure. Mike Budenholzer was canned because number one, he was an asshole. That's what I hear, is that he was an asshole. He was a guy who, again, very good coach. Very good. And again, Kobe Bryant was an asshole. Michael Jordan was an asshole. That doesn't mean they're not a great, so great coach. But I think it was one of those things where when you're an ass, the message can get tiring, especially when you don't win. So, let's not forget, James, don't forget, there were articles coming out during the Bucks title run. I remember vividly after they played the Brooklyn Nets, or during the Brooklyn Nets series, where they were saying, don't know if this is going to be enough. Or, don't know if this is, him losing. He might be fired if they don't win this series. It was like before Game 7. He might be fired if they don't win this series. I remember it during the Atlanta series. They said, it might not work. This might be it. Go look it. I'm telling you, go find it. There were articles coming out during the Bucks playoff run that he could be fired if they were losing the series all the way up to the Eastern Conference Finals. Because again, up until that point, don't forget, they And again, he turned it around. He took what Jason Kidd had started and really built it into something else. But they had lost to they lost in 2019 when they were up 2-0. They were up 2 games against the Raptors and lost. You had the best record coming into the bubble and fell apart. And again, I tend to believe that was some bubble stuff and it wasn't real. But at the end of the day, it happened. So you got beat down in the bubble. And so you're coming off those 2 debacles where you were shoo-in to go to the finals and you lose 4 straight. And then you were the best team in all of basketball. Like, they were on a pace that was better than OKC right now, even when OKC was rolling. Like, at one point, in 2020, the Bucks were 50-8, I believe, at one point. The Bucks were 50-8 at one point, I believe, before the shutdown. And then you go to the bubble, and you fall apart. And so 2021 comes, and, so what happened in 2021 really, that's what propelled and gave him 2 more years. And then they win a championship in 21. And 22, you come back and lose, but nobody's really saying anything. You lost. Chris Middleton got hurt. But in 23, you lose to Miami. You were a 1 seed losing to the 8 seed. So I think, and then remember his brother died and all that kind of stuff. But just go through this realistically. And I get you win a championship in 21. The question, how much latitude does that give you when they were thinking about firing you before you won the championship anyway? And so you win in 21, but there are really 4 reasons Bud got fired. 3 of them on court stuff. 1 was the loss to Toronto up 2-0, losing 4 straight in the Eastern Conference Finals. 2 was being clearly the best team in the entire NBA in 2020, being 50-8, going to the bubble and getting beat in the second round. 3, getting beat, and not only getting beat in 23 to the Miami Heat, but the fashion in which it happened was embarrassing. Like that was most embarrassing. I'm telling you, and some people might disagree. It is Indiana because people hurt Indiana. That Miami series was embarrassing. It was embarrassing the way they lost. You were the 1 seed, lost to the 8, lost to a team in the play-in. It was embarrassing. And I know Giannis was hurt for some of that series, and I tried to make some excuses for it, but again, maybe I don't forget this kind of stuff. I remember thinking, and I know, and I bet if you remember, you'll remember thinking this too. I remember people saying, we don't even need Giannis to win this series. We can let Giannis rest and we'll beat Miami. We good. And if you remember, I believe they lost the first game. I believe they lost game 1 and then won game 2. And again, I feel like Giannis probably could have came back in game 3, but I think at that point they really got to think, okay, we're good. We don't need, we're good. We can, and then he went down 2-1. Anyway, but that was reason number 3. And then reason number 4 was, in all of those years, you also had Bud being an ass. And now Bud is weighing on people. And again, you can deal when the guy in the office is annoying and you don't like him and he's not a people person and it's not when sales are through the roof and the CEO or the boss is doing it, cool. When now you lose in embarrassing fashion, it's not as cute anymore. Say again, Bobby Portis. When you win, it's all that being upset and getting texts and hey, I wish they had a counter on this. Wouldn't you agree that there have been less Bobby? Would you agree there have been less chance this year than there were in 21, 20, 2022, 2023? I don't have a counter on it, but if I was just, if I was a betting man, I'd bet you there have been significantly less this season than there were in the past. It ain't as cute when you losing. It ain't all getting a tech ain't cute. Getting starting fights ain't cute when you losing. So same logic applies to Mike Budenholzer. Be an asshole and running over people, and your attitude, it's not as cute when you're losing. And so again, so all of those reasons play into a factor, and so I know I went a long way to explain that. But again, it's just me here and I'm just yapping. But yeah, but Giannis wasn't immune to that either. And it wasn't just Giannis. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The mutiny that people think happened under Adrian Griffin, that happened under Mike Budenholzer. That there was more of that under Bud than actually what happened under AG. There were significantly more players that didn't like being coached by him, and they would never say it publicly. They never say it publicly. He's won a championship, but there are people that didn't like him. And let me say this. Let me qualify that. Let me not say didn't like him as a person or like holding some type of grudge or holding some type of beef. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, yeah, they prefer we move on. Dap hands, man. We appreciate everything you've done for us. Whoa, man, that was great, man. We won the championship. More of that than I can't stand this guy. I never play for him. I'm not saying it's that. I'm saying it's more of, man, it's probably time. It's time. That's how that went. And again, and for the record, I have no clue how they feel about Doc Rivers. So you ask me, I have no idea how they feel about Doc. Everything I've seen, though, I would think I don't know. Let me not lie to you. I really don't. I really can't tell you because I would think things, but I don't know them to be true. All right, I've been yapping. Let's do a game ball tonight. That's a good question though. I don't know who. I think James Moore asked it, but good. That's a good question. It's one of those nights where I'm by myself, so I might I give you a little more of just me yapping and giving some thoughts here. All right, let's do game ball. 94-122. Raptors beat the Bucks. Game ball for me tonight. Again, I think a lot of people go Emmanuel quickly. I'm going to go Brandon Ingram. I thought Brandon Ingram was the spark plug offensively that had everything going. And I think he's what changed the game. And I think Emmanuel quickly was the beneficiary, 32-9-3. But I think Brandon Ingram was what, well, you know me, James West says nobody deserves a game ball. You got to win to get in. No, Toronto deserves a game ball. But I thought Brandon Ingram was the reason that Emmanuel quickly got the looks that he got, because to me the entire Bucks defense shifted towards Brandon Ingram and trying to stop him, and I think that's the reason Brandon Ingram, he only finished with 22 points. Like that wasn't like Brandon Ingram like crushed, like he had 35 or 40. Like no, but the Bucks, their entire defense went to how can we stop Brandon Ingram. And I think not only did it open up things for Emmanuel Quick, I thought it opened up things for everybody. I thought it opened things for Mamu. Mamu thought it opened things for Quickly. Thought it got looks for Sheet. I thought everything was good, and I thought Brandon Ingram opened that up. So Brandon Ingram gets my game ball tonight. Brandon Ingram, a.k.a. B.I., a.k.a. L.A. I bet you wish you had me now. A.k.a. I'm the setup guy. A.k.a. Oh, yeah, and I got Glorilla. A.k.a. Yeah, Glow. Yeah, Glow. All right, that's all A.k.a. tonight. All right, Will Lindquist says, can you give a counter now going forward when Bobby gets a tech foul and how he ruins the game flow and the game? I'm at 7 games this year when he's in and loses control, and the Bucks lose as well. That's a good one. You keep count. The one that I always go back to is the Indiana series in the where Giannis was out. Not last year, the one before that, where again, and remember that one went to 6. If I recall, that one went to 6, and he got a tech in that one. I think they lost the game. No, didn't he get kicked out of that game? I think he got kicked out of that game. And that was part of the reason I feel like he got kicked out of one of those games against Indiana in a playoffs, and that was really my last straw. See, James Morrison, do you believe Milwaukee should move on from Bobby this summer? Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, and not from. I just think that it's one thing. It's the same thing. Time has come. The time has come, and it depends, especially if your goal is we're trying to put. Because again, I'm still operating under the mindset. I'm still operating under the mindset that I want the Milwaukee Bucks to retain Giannis and keep this thing rolling and get him to sign. So again, it's really not an indictment on Bobby Portis. I think he's a good player. I think the Bucks need something different. And so I think he's an asset that you can use in some type of trade to facilitate it. That's really that's more of what it is than it being about him. But again, it's one of the things where it's been a great run with Bobby Portis, and he helped us get a championship. But I think it's time to move on and try to get some. Bobby and Kuz got to be some salary guys that you're trying to move on from, keep this thing rolling. But that's what I go to. Will Lincoln says, "Bro, I love you too, love all you guys in the chat." And everybody who watches. Iron Man Clan TV says, "Game ball goes to the Bucks fans for watching this dog shit team in the cold." I think they're better than a dog shit team. I do. I really do. I really do. I would be very surprised if, maybe that's still like, dude, the play-in. I'd be very surprised if they don't make the play-in. And in some ways, I would love if Charlotte was the 9 and Milwaukee was the 10. I promise you, I would be in Spectrum Center. I guarantee you, I would be in Spectrum Center to watch that one and see how that one plays out, and wanting the Bucks to advance and keep rolling. So yeah, I would do that, and I'd love to see it. Again, of course, I'd rather them be the 6th seed. I know somebody's gonna say, "LOL, that ain't gonna happen." But if it doesn't, I'd rather you. I want to see us play Charlotte and knock them out and keep going. Yeah, well, Luke says, "Yeah, appreciate you, BP, but you got to go." That's where it is. All right, let's look around the NBA. I won't do like a look around, but I'll do just a look around the NBA here. Hornets, that's one you should be watching if you're Bucks fans. 61-56 over the Wizards right now at halftime. I don't have any faith that the Wizards are going to try to win that game, but it is a 5-point game at the half. Celtics are on NBC, up 4 over the Lakers. The 76ers are up 15-12 right now in the first over the Timberwolves. All other game, and then in other news, the Warriors beat the Nuggets. I heard some stuff. Let me see what Joker did, because I heard Joker had a big game. 35, 20, and 12. Ooh. In 35 minutes, 35, 20, and 12. How'd they lose? How did they lose to a Warriors team? Moody had 23. Santos 17-7. Al Horford had 22 points. They gave 15 to Gary Payton, 18 and 15 boards for Pozinski. Man, that was a crazy game. How the hell? That's a crazy game. Okay. And then the Mavericks beat the Pacers 134-130 tonight. Pacers are clearly tanking. I mean, they're on unspeakable levels of tanking, which is what they're trying to do. All right, 130. All right, that's it. Bucks lose tonight, 122-94. I'm gonna wrap it here. We're not gonna do any more looking around at anything else. Be back at you Tuesday night. I believe Tuesday night, right? Let's see. They play Tuesday night against the Miami Heat. Big one for the Bucks on Tuesday night. We'll see if the Bucks can get back their winning ways and win this win a basketball game against the Miami Heat, a team they need, who's also in the play-in as well. So a lot of reasons to get that. Appreciate everybody for joining us this evening. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with us, and we appreciate it. Appreciate the super chats. Appreciate the comments. We appreciate the likes. Hit that like button. All that good stuff for us. If you didn't hit the like button on the way in, hit that like button on the way out. If you believe this basketball team can get back on track and beat the Miami Heat on Tuesday night, hit that like button. Be greatly appreciated. Like, follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you will, it's greatly appreciated. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell another friend about the Cream City Crossover. It is the best Milwaukee Bucks Postgame Show in all of the land. Yeah, man, this has been a Cream City Media Group production from the Group Treasure. That's just me. We appreciate it. if I am your enemy, is only because I dare to tell you the truth. Don't take no wooden nickels.